Hello everyone, I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Mom.
And this is Millennial Mom. And today we are here to recap our other favorite show, Love After Lockup, Season 3, Episode 3, Date with Destiny. And I already know that we're not going to see Destiny in this episode, but who knows? So let's get into the review. So we finally get to see one of our last two couples who we haven't got to see yet. And as soon as I saw Tyrese pull up on camera, I was like, that's someone that I would talk to Mom.
What'd you point at me for?
Because you're a mom.
He is not my type, just by the way he's dressed. He dresses like he's in his 20s, pants sagging, long shirts. Not my type.
First of all, no one dresses like that anymore.
Well, he does. So the only thing I would have said, I would have been nice. I would have been like, hey, how you doing? And that's it.
Well, you never know. You might not have been his type either.
That's fine. It goes both ways.
Well, he said he's a hot commodity out in these streets.
He did.
Said that, he has his own car. He got his own crib. He makes his own money.
Awesome.
And he's fly. He looks good.
I mean, I could say the same thing about me. But I'm not on Love After Lockup, and nor will I be.
So later on, we see him go to this boutique with his friend, Tangi. And Tangi was fly. She had her bob suit to the side, the bangs.
Tangi knew she was going to be on TV today.
But his supposed best friend doesn't know anything about Shonda, which I find to be weird.
Well, even his kids don't know, so I don't find that weird. I mean, a lot of these couples, regardless of the show that they're on, tend not to tell the families about the person they're dating. I mean, regardless if they're younger or older or whatever, they just don't know. But this is your best friend of 10 years, so you would think you would have confided in her, but he didn't.
So while they were shopping around to buy for clothes for Shonda, she was like, so what's her name? What does she go to prison for? He was like, oh, her name's Shonda. She's been to prison 2 times, but people can change. That don't mean nothing. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I was with Tangi. I'm like, I would like you too if you were sending me money.
And he, in his confession was like, oh, I think she likes me. She's not saying it. I'm like, she may like you, but this is not the reason why she was saying that. It's like, the girl's been in prison. You're 21 years older than her. Like, what could she possibly want from you? And you've only known her for 2 months.
And he's spending $600 on some clothes.
Well,
I was like, I hope they fit, because you know how boutiques be.
Right.
It's only in-store cash return. So before we start with this next couple, we have to give one correction, and that is to John. It's not Kenneth, like we said last week. I guess we kind of got mixed up with another show that we watched.
We did.
But anyways, Jonah Christiana. So Christiana says yes.
She did. Were you surprised?
No.
I was halfway surprised, but I halfway wasn't, because they don't know each other. She needs to get to the halfway house. That's the first thing on her mind. And in her confessionals, just talking about him, she didn't seem as sure or as certain. But while they're on their way to his truck, she doesn't know that there's going to be a wedding chapel on his truck.
See, when I first heard it, I don't know if I was paying attention when he was explaining it, or maybe because we live in Vegas. I thought they were literally going to a pull-up chapel in a limo, because that's nothing new. That's something that happens here.
I know, but they're not here. They're not from here, and she got to get to their halfway house. So clearly, you weren't paying attention.
Well, when they finally get to the truck, she's like, oh, what is this? He's like, well, we're getting married right here. And I had a slight problem with this, because yes, she might say that she wants to marry you because you guys, just met today. You asked her today. But it's too much rushing going on. It's not enough time. But then I had to remember, this is the same guy who went on Craigslist and got him a girlfriend for Christmas.
I mean, whatever floats your boat. They pull up, as you say. His friends are out there. She's nervous. She's not really sure if she wants to go through with it. But one thing John did was he already had a wedding dress. He guessed at her size. I was like, well, that was nice. Or was it something you recycled from one of your other weddings?
Ooh, I didn't think that. I thought it was nice, but at the same time, I was like, why would you do that? It's only seeming like it wanted to be your vision and not both of you guys' vision if you guys are both truly in love with each other,
Yeah. So she goes to try on the dress. The dress doesn't fit, but what she decides to wear anyway is a Native American, looked like it was a sweater.
Decides that's what he gave her to wear.
Well, no, she still had on her prison clothes. I mean,
She didn't have a choice.
she could have wore her prison clothes.
Well, yeah, because the dress didn't fit, so she had to wear the prison clothes, and he gave her his alternate option, which was the jacket.
Well, we're going to see if she goes through with it because it says his friend asked her, are you going to do it? She's like, I don't know. Feels like it's rushed. Maybe, maybe not. You know what? I'm sick of these cliffhangers with Jonah Christiana. Christiana needs to get to that halfway house. Can we please get her there?
Right, she only got 8 minutes for the wedding. Do you think they can do a wedding in 8 minutes?
Fast and in a hurry.
Okay, y'all, Jessica and Maurice. The one thing that I can say that I have learned from this couple is that I guess in the state of California, if you do get married, you can have conjugal visits, and I guess, or as Maurice said, the boom boom visits.
I am so tired of hearing about these conjugal visits, when we having sex, how long it's been since we had sex.
I mean, you heard what Jessica said. She said, oh, I think he only married me. Wait, not think. He said he only married me just to have conjugal visits.
So the basis, it seems like all this couple has in common is sex. I'm already over it.
But I thought it was interesting that they give the couples like a little 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, conjugal visits, where are they supposed to do it? In their regular cell?
I mean, hey, Andrea and her dude had their little visits in the back closet, so.
Well, they weren't real visits, and every prison is different. They all do not have conjugal visits.
So they finally get back to the house, and I'm like, is this a rental house? Is this an Airbnb for like a few hours? Like, what's happening here?
I thought it was a barn.
A barn?
Yeah.
Well, whatever it was, the main objective was to have sex. It's like, oh, okay. And Maurice was like, yeah, I don't know why y'all still here. Y'all can leave. I was like, this boy has no shame. And did I hear some click-clack?
There was some click-clack, but that could have been shady production. But then
I'm
again,
hoping it was shady production because that is just not even a sound I wanted to envision with either of them.
now I'm just going to touch on Jessica. Her issue is her family and her sister. And I'm just curious to know, with this now probably in playback for everybody or everyone's watching the show, how does this solve the issue that you are lacking within your family dynamic? Because the only thing that you have said positive was, I can't think of anything you said positive, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see when or if he actually gets his parole moved from LA to Las Vegas and see how that dynamic plays out. Because to be honest with you, I can see it playing out like a Megan and Michael situation, but I can't see it lasting any longer than that.
One of the things when he did get out and the very next day was he called his family. And they were happy to hear he was out because he spent 7.5 years or 7 years, something like that, in prison. And he's in prison in Northern California, but his home is in LA where the parole is. But his wife, Jessica, lives here in Vegas. So he was trying to tell his aunt that, well, never mind. I'm just not going to tell them I'm going. I'm like, well, see, that you're going to be on the fast track back to prison. Is it really that serious? And they're like, no, you don't want to do that. And then, he turned it around like, no, I'm not going to do that. And Maurice, you said it on camera.
What does that really mean?
Clearly it means nothing. So as they make it to the airport, he's saying like, oh, look at the planes. I've never been on a plane. I've never seen one fly. And I'm like, okay, I can understand people not being on an airplane before, but not seeing one fly, I just can't believe. You've never looked up in the sky and seen the plane?
Up close, not in the sky.
Oh, well, I just don't know about this couple. I don't see it. I don't see any positivity. I don't know what they're trying to achieve. I don't see it at all.
And then we had this real quick segment with Scott and Lindsey.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really happened with him not so much the couple, is that since she was going to be on the airplane, he was going to pick her up in a Hummer limo.
I mean, must be nice. 2 men picking up their women in limos. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice, but you know, all the logistics with it is not it. But when he was doing the first transaction, his car declined. But I already knew that issue was going to get resolved because all Scott's been talking about so far is his money.
How much I paid for this, how much I paid for that phone, how much I paid for her clothes, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, you don't have enough money to cover your expenses because if you're handing a credit card over and all this money you say you have, your car should just go through. I mean, what's the problem?
Maybe he went over his limit with that card.
Well, that's going to be a problem with Lindsey because she wants to come home to pancakes and champagne, the house, the clothes, the car,
the kids, the dog. She wants it all. So we see him waiting in the airport. He's looking around. I just thought it was interesting. He's going to ask Pops, sitting down, minding his own business. Oh, well, what time the plane is going to come? I read it on the board. It said 8:13. I didn't see 8:30. Why are you asking him? Where is the flight people that be at the desk? Go ask them. He was minding his own business. He looked disturbed. I felt sorry for that man in that moment.
Scott is anxious to see Lindsey because, you know, he said he's never seen her before. He's only talked to her on the phone or whatever. And he just wants to see his soon-to-be fiance.
He has a lot of faith.
All right, now we're moving to Chevelle and Quentin. Before I begin, I would like to give a correction to Miss Quilandria, who corrected us on the spelling and pronunciation of her name in our YouTube. So thank you for watching. Now we see Chevelle and Miss Quilandria. They just arrived at the hotel from being on the road, and Chevelle's putting up her things and she's looking through them at the same time, excited that he's coming home tomorrow. She's finally going to see her man. But she's also reliving that conversation that her and Miss Quilandria had in the car. And she is upset because she was saying, I just didn't know he had those plans like that. Like, he didn't tell me. I just don't understand why he wouldn't tell me and want to go home with his mom and his family. Then we get a knock on the door. It's Miss Quilandria. And she comes in and she apologizes to Chevelle because she said, you know what? What happened in the car, I didn't mean for it to go down that way. You know, and Chevelle said, that's fine, I understand. Quilandria said, I haven't seen Quaylin in 12 years and I really want to be around him. As a mom, can you understand? I want him home. I want to hold him, protect him, and I can relate to that.
When I was listening to that scene, I was like, that's mom. Like, she was throughout this episode.
I was.
I'm telling you, we're going to do story time later. But I really appreciate and I understand where his mom was coming from because, you know, he's been away since he was 17. It's been 12 years. You know, the state that they're in, he got in a lot of trouble. So she wants to, you know, protect him in a sense, to move him to Houston. But at the same time, he is in control of his own destiny. And if trouble is going to find him, because that's what he's looking for, it's going to find him in Houston, Vegas, Kansas, Hawaii, New York, anywhere he go. If that's what he's looking for, he's going to get into it. So hopefully when he does come out, he does turn his life around, because I actually believe that Chevelle really likes him or even loves him.
I believe that too. You know, she's looking forward to marrying him, being a family, being a father to her daughter. I see all that from her, and it comes across very genuine.
So we finally get to see them pull up to the prison because it's the day that he's getting released. And all I can say is, I'm not waiting for nobody and no snow. Maybe because we live in a desert and we don't have snow that often, so we're not used to it. But I would have been in the car.
Until he came out.
Yes.
She was excited. She said, I don't feel the cold. It just feels like the heat is on. I get it. I get where she's coming from. They're both excited, and they're waiting for Quaylin. And does he come out?
You know he's going to come out.
Oh, we have to wait and see.
Our last couple for this episode is Shawn and Destinie. And I got a few bones to pick with Shawn. So we're going to start in order from how I saw the episode. One, he's making tacos, gordita tacos, for her when she gets out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a little special gift because he doesn't usually pamper his girlfriends in the past. So I'm like, dang, what did the baby mama get? Just some kids?
That's it?
Sheesh. But he's packing and making the tacos with no covering on them.
That bothered you?
It did bother me because who does that?
Well, at least he put them in a container inside of something. He didn't like carry them, put them on the seat of the car.
No, he needed some plastic wrap, some foil, something. And it was only 4 tacos. At that. That's not spoiling. So then when he pulls up to the prison, right? He doesn't know what she looks like. So he's anxious. I get it. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out. I thought she looked exactly the same from the pictures. Maybe like just a little bit of weight.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, you know, it's just healthy weight because she was probably on drugs or alcohol or something like that was in her system. So I'm like, okay, cool. So to me, it seemed like he was slightly disappointed.
Well, his face did show disappointment because what he said was, well, I mean, I guess she looks like the picture because I've been studying it. And I usually like slender or thin girls, but she'll do. And then she said, he looks a little older than his picture, but it's okay. I mean, you have to give and take here. But what did it for him was when they kissed, he felt that connection.
I'm glad he felt that $5,000 bond connection because how dare he, one, make some tacos for someone that you want to be skinny because that's not the most healthiest meal, and two, judge that girl because she has a little bit of weight on her. Like, no one's judging you for what you've done in your past yet, or your so-called secrets that you haven't said yet, because you said that you was on a dating website because you don't want no one that's gonna lie to you, and you're doing the exact same thing and being very womanizing to her. But hey, at least he bought some flowers for Valentine's Day for her, right?
Well, you have aired your grievances.
I just didn't appreciate how he was trying to do her because of some baby weight. That's not even nothing to be mad about.
Well, regardless of the weight she may have put on or whatever the case may be, you took the time, you took the effort, you spent the money. You're in this, Shawn, so you might as well try to work it out and see where it goes and hope that when you give your secrets, she'll be there to stick by you.
All right, everyone. So that was the end of this week's episode. It was a good episode. It definitely wasn't a filler like last week's episode. I'm just really excited to see this new couple that we haven't seen yet and when they're going to come on the show.
Yeah, I'm waiting on them too and the dynamic that they bring. I'm also looking forward to next week. All the couples, but especially Jessica and Maurice, to see if he goes on the lam. Like, are you going to go on the
Go on the what?
On the lam? To run away? Old school reference. Gangster days. Bonnie and Clyde. To see if he's really going to go to the parole officer or come to Vegas.
Well, I guess we're going to have to see. So let us know what you all think in the comments down below about this week's episode and what you think is going to happen next week. So thank you all so much for watching this week's video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. You also share this video to other people who watch Love After Lockup. And you become one of our wonderful subscribers so you don't miss out on one of our giveaway opportunities for the month of August.
Thank you all for watching. And as always, live simply, be grateful.